Can you feel it? The buzz, the buildup, the stress. It's testing season, right around the corner. Testing season can be a lot. And if your classroom feels a little bit more tense, maybe a little bit more wiggly, more emotional, or just off right now, this makes complete sense. This time of year usually comes with a huge rush of curriculum. We're trying to squeeze everything in before the test days. Schedules are changing, routines get interrupted, science and social studies sometimes quietly disappear for a little while, teachers lose time, kids feel the pressure, and all of that stress, it can start to show up as behavior. So if you're seeing a little bit more dysregulation right now, this is normal, but it's still a lot to deal with. So today we're going to take a look at what is happening when your nervous system and your students' nervous systems are under stress and what you can do about it. Hey friends, welcome to Enjoy Teaching Again, the podcast for teachers who love the work but need a little spark to bring the joy back. I'm your host, Elizabeth Peterson, classroom teacher, arts integration specialist, and passionate educator of over 25 years. If you're overwhelmed by behaviors, disengaged students, and long, exhausting days, you are not alone. But together, we can turn things around and you can teach with confidence and purpose again. So locate that cold coffee of yours, find your favorite pen, I know you have one, and let's dive in. It's time to get inspired and enjoy teaching again. I definitely know that feeling of walking into your classroom and wondering if you even have the energy to face the day. That weight in your chest, the pressure to be everything to everyone, the exhaustion that comes from trying to manage behaviors and meet expectations and still be that creative, inspiring teacher that you dreamed of being. My friend, you're not alone in this. Every great teacher has stood where you are right now, tired, doubting, and wondering if it's possible to turn things around. But I'm here to tell you, it is possible. The Classroom Reset experience is that bridge back to the teacher that you wanted to be all along. Let's walk it together. We'll explore practical, creative strategies to keep your students engaged and excited to learn, dynamic classroom management tips that actually work, and arts-based activities that boost your students' social and emotional growth. The best part, these approaches will feel natural, effortless, and like second nature in your everyday teaching, and that's the point. This isn't about doing more, this is about resetting what you already do. Plus, you'll get all the support you could possibly need along the way to make this successful in your classroom. You don't need a new initiative, you need a reset. Go to theinspiredclassroom.com/reset to see how easy it is to get started. I feel like I've been hearing the phrase nervous system everywhere lately. Exercise YouTubers that I follow seem to be talking more and more about regulating your nervous system for recovery and strength. Facebook groups I'm part of are bringing it up. Even conversations in my own family have circled back to stress and regulation and how our bodies respond to it. Now, I am not a clinician, but the more I notice it, the more fascinated I am because this applies so clearly to our lives and to our classrooms. So what is your nervous system? Well, your nervous system is your body's safety system. It's constantly asking things like, am I safe? Do I need to be alert? Or can I calm down and focus? Now, when the nervous system feels threatened or overwhelmed, it can shift into survival mode. You know what I'm talking about, right? The fight, flight, or freeze. And that's when we see behaviors start to come out in our kids like shutdowns, irritability, big reactions, or kids who just can't sit still. And let's face it, testing season can put the nervous system on high alert for kids and for teachers. The pressure, the quiet expectations, the fear of mistakes, adults rushing around, it all adds up. And some of the negative behavior that you're seeing is very often a nervous system response, not just simply a discipline issue. Now, one of the biggest problems I see right now is the rush to cram curriculum before testing. And let me be very honest, I'm as guilty as the next teacher on this. Schedules change, instructional time gets rearranged, creative subjects can get paused, and teachers feel squeezed and stressed. I mean, am I right? The kids, they lose their routines that usually help them feel safe. And let's face it, they can see the stress in our faces and our body language. Not to mention, some of us just come out and say it. But let's pause for a moment and remember that when routines disappear, kids lose their anchors, and then their behavior can start to ramp up. It's kind of like this. Our routines are the anchors in our classroom. When things feel steady, those anchors keep everyone grounded, even when the water gets choppy. For example, my kids come in every morning and look for the schedule on the board, even if the schedule is not changing. And I mean, it really doesn't day to day. But if my kids come in on a half day and I haven't put the updated schedule on the board, I get flooded with bodies and questions, wondering what the schedule is going to be. Having that schedule on the board is one of our routines, one of our anchors. I mean, even if I didn't change the special class that we're going to for the day, I get flooded with questions. Now, if during testing season, we start pulling anchors up left and right, maybe we don't have science one day, no social studies, no creative break, everything feels rushed, the kids will feel it. And without those anchors, kids can start to drift. Not because they're trying to be difficult, but because they don't feel steady. And if our anchors are gone or not placed well, behaviors can shift. It's amazing to me how true it is that predictability can be so calming for the nervous system. Now, the tendency at this time of year can be to clamp down harder and find time to do more with the dwindling time that you have before test days. And I get it. I'm guilty of this as well, because it's simply a reality. But something we can also do is be intentional about calm and help students to understand how things will start to shift as we prepare for test days. This is why I keep coming back to the idea that we need to practice before we need it. This is a key idea inside of SEAL, Social, Emotional, Artistic Learning. And any teacher I work with knows I like to emphasize the importance of practicing certain SEAL strategies now so that you and your students can use them later when you need them. So let's take a look at some of the ideas that you can try in your classroom. These are some regulation strategies that you can try and practice in the days and the weeks leading up to the testing days. The first one is a 3-minute draw. Now, so many people find so much benefit to drawing and doodling and coloring, and you can use a short 3 minutes to help your students regulate and transition into something new with a 3-minute draw. It's not just an extra thing, but something to build into a change or a transition that you might have. So here are a couple of examples. Sometimes I'll have my students do 2 to 3 minutes of free draw on their whiteboards, or in the margins of their paper, or even on a Post-it note as a means to get them ready and regulated for the class time. Sometimes it might be at the very beginning of class, and other times for some students, I'll actually give them a Post-it note to have on their desk so that they can use it whenever they feel the need. This is also perfect for transitions. Think about when the kids come in for recess and they have to transition to learning, or they're going from one subject to another, or right before a lesson begins. The whiteboards, if I'm pulling out whiteboards as part of my lesson, I'll actually give students 2 minutes to just free draw on their whiteboards. Not only does this help them to transition into getting ready to learn using their whiteboards, but it also provides a little built-in time for everybody to get the whiteboard, get a marker, find a marker that actually works, sit down where they need to sit down, and be ready. Now, the thing about this is that drawing naturally calms the nervous system. It can help students really shift gears without many words, and it does prevent behavior before it even starts. Honestly, 2 to 3 minutes of drawing or doodling can save you 10 minutes of disruption. And you might be saying, yeah, but What if my students don't want to stop when it's time to move to the next thing? Well, that's why you only give them a small piece of paper, right? Or a Post-it, or even a quarter-sized piece of paper. In fact, one of my favorite tools to use for a soft start, which is basically a transition tool from one thing to another, is a small coloring page. Literally the quarter size of a piece of paper. Those types of soft starts are actually a bestseller inside my TPT store. Sometimes I'll even take recycled paper, cut it into fourths, and just use that. And that is a perfect reason also to practice this over and over again so that students really understand that this is not a time to draw some elaborate illustration for art class, but to do simple doodles as a way to calm down. This plays into the idea that we need to explicitly teach some of the social emotional skills that our students need. So as you're introducing this, explain to them that you're doing this as a way to help them calm their bodies and be ready to do the next thing that you're doing. The next strategy is to use music to help with the nervous system, specifically sound tracking. Now, I've done an entire episode about sound tracking. It's episode 50. I'll link it in the show notes. And I've talked about and taught about sound tracking for years. There's so much to this amazing strategy. And for those teachers who are inside my SEAL Teacher Academy, you have access to absolutely everything that has to do with sound tracking. But to get started, I want you to check out episode 50, okay? Now, the thing about music is that the right type of music can actually be successful in helping to calm your students, helping your students to focus, and it'll actually also signal safety for them. It's amazing how it will work. There have been times during this school year that I've had a few days go by that I have not soundtracked my classroom. And it's truly amazing that when I actually begin it again, there have been a few times this school year that there have been days that I haven't soundtracked for whatever reason. Sometimes, Spotify is not loading correctly on my computer, or my speakers are not talking correctly to my computer, whatever it might be. And when I start to notice how the behaviors are creeping back in, and I decide, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to make this work again. As soon as I put the music back on, you can instantly feel the shift in the classroom atmosphere. It's truly amazing how much this really works. It's like the room can exhale. Now, what you can do with music is that if you start to use music consistently before testing, you can let it become part of a routine that students associate with calm and focus. And that music can start to become a new anchor for them. Because that's what we're essentially doing, right? We're finding things that we can use as anchors to help students to get that calm and get that focus. So far we have a 3-minute draw as an anchor for them. And now we've got some music as an anchor for them. The third strategy is movement, stretching and breathing as an anchor for your class. Now, stretching and breathing, they aren't extra. They shouldn't be seen as extra. It is now almost considered like a nervous system hygiene, right? And you don't want to just wait until test day and say, okay, everybody, let's just take a nice deep breath and let's do this. You really need to practice this type of thing in the days and the weeks leading up so that students understand it, they've practiced it, and they are more apt to use it and use it to their benefit on the days when they really, really need it. So some suggestions: simple stretches at their desks. And I always like to teach my students stretches that they can do while sitting that are non-invasive, like they don't distract others. They might just stretch their arms or their shoulders or their neck. They can even push out their chairs and move their legs and stretch their legs a little bit. You can practice gentle breathing together. I like to do a nice deep breath in through the nose, hold it for 4 seconds or so, and then gently let it out the nose. I never encourage too much mouth breath breathing in school because of germs. So keep it in the nose and out the nose. Now, if you really wanted to get into it, you could have the class create their own stretch routine, their own calming sequence. Encourage them to do this. You could do this as a class, but you could also have students do their own thing individually. And what this does is it creates some predictability and it builds in some safety so that on test days, the body already knows what to do. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling a little jittery, take a deep breath, do a little stretching, and then your body can be more ready. Because when stress hits, the body goes back to what it's already practiced. I want to encourage you to not just let these simple strategies take more than 2 to 3 minutes. It can be so easy or even tempting to let kids continue their drawings or to turn a sketch break into a discussion, but that's not the point. Use these as anchors in your classroom so that students can return to them when they need a quick regulation or they need some predictability. We practice regulation before we need it so that when stress shows up, our students already know how to respond. So imagine this with me. Your students come in on test day, just the right music is playing as they enter, and they get ready. They have something creative or simple to doodle at their desk as everyone gets settled. And then before you even spit out the scripted test directions, your class has a moment to breathe and stretch and prepare themselves to focus. These 3 strategies, they can work for you if you start taking the time now to practice them. Because remember, practice before you need it. Here's what I want you to notice. You didn't need a whole program to calm your classroom today. You just needed a simple reset. Drawing, music, movement. You just needed those things to support the nervous system. And when you make an intentional change like that, it often opens the door to more calm, more clarity, and more ease. And if you're listening and thinking, wow, if this one shift helps, imagine what else I could reset. Well, that's exactly what the Classroom Reset is about. The Classroom Reset is my 6-month reset experience that's built for you to help your class reset itself. It's not about fixing everything at once. It's about identifying the next small, meaningful reset that your classroom needs and having guidance as you do it. You can absolutely start with what you learned today. And if you'd like support discovering what comes next, I want you to go to theinspiredclassroom.com/reset to see what other possibilities are out there for you. Because the thing is, you don't need another initiative. You need a reset. I hope this episode inspired you, encouraged you, or gave you a fresh idea to try. And if so, I would love for you to take a screenshot and text it to one of your teaching buddies. I'm so grateful that you landed here with me today, and it would mean the world to me if you would leave me a review over on Apple Podcast. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll catch you on the next episode. This is Elizabeth Peterson reminding you to get inspired so you can be inspiring to your students and enjoy teaching again.